Well, there we go. Welcome back. Sorry about that. I've obviously pushed the pause button on the camera and therefore stopped the recording. So there I was, chatting away to you, and unfortunately there was nothing being filmed. Anyway, I've just linked this one up with the last posting. So, just talking about those records I managed to find in the local charity shop. There are a couple of charity shops. One was the YMCA shop and the other was the Peggy Wood Foundation, which provides support and funding for pieces of equipment, particularly in the Maidstone area. And a few years ago I had the pleasure of meeting Peggy. She had a very sad life, and she actually was looked after eventually by the Royal British Legion Industries based at Aylesford in near Maidstone, and they have an extra care scheme there, supported housing scheme there, and she was well looked after, so it was a great honour. But anyway, some of these things came from her shop, and it's still going very strong. The first one of these I found in the YMCA was this rather unusual 45 called Sounds Beautiful, with Judith Chalmers, David Jacobs, introducing the GEC Music Centre 2817. Now, it's a picture of the two people on the back there. We've got Judith and David. And I actually tried to find the Music Centre 2817 on the internet. You know, I can't find a picture of it or anything on YouTube. So did they really exist in great numbers, I'm wondering? They're probably one of those centres that were cheaply built in the 70s, and if I remember rightly, my grandmother had one of those on my recommendation, I have to hasten to add. Never was as good as her HMV radiogram from 1957, but they were okay, you know, sort of cheaply built, I suppose. Nothing that I'd write home about now, but some of you out there might actually know that. But it's an interesting record. I'm not going to actually showcase this one because there is already a posting on YouTube of this very record, so what I might do is put the link for you, so if you want to hear this one then but it's quite fascinating, talking about how wonderful the cassette player was, and the piano keys and the counter and all this stuff, and the AFC radio. But quite a historical document. Comes from about 1974, I think it says on there, and was used as a promotional for that particular piece of equipment. This one is hymn singing in St Clement Danes by the Royal Air Force Church. Now this one's got an interesting history to it, in that on the back it's got quite a good description in the liner notes about St Clement's being bombed during the war and how they rebuilt it. So that's I haven't played this one yet, so I'm looking forward to that. Some of the bits on here are "Praise my soul, the King of Heaven," "The God of love, my shepherd is," "The joy, Jesus' joy to man's desiring," and of course Jerusalem by Blake and Perry. So that should be a really good rousing one to end with. And then I also found this rather nice 10-inch. This is New Orleans Encore Traditional Jazz as played today, it says on there, and London Blues. It's got Auntie Skinner's Chicken Dinner, My Mama, Rocks Me, I'm a Little Blackbird, and so on. It's on the London album label, which is also a good one. It's quite neat actually. I have given these a wipe off. I always do that when I get home. Very nice. The Red Onion Jazz Band. Looking forward to that one. Now this one's an interesting one. This is the National Jazz Federation concert, the Royal Festival Hall Jazz Scene 1956 on 10-inch, and there's a wonderful line drawing of the Royal Festival Hall. Now that's in England. Some of you may not know if you're abroad listening to this broadcast, but in fact the Royal Festival Hall in London has been refurbished, so it doesn't look quite as it does in the picture there, and I've had the pleasure of actually going there a few years ago to see a very nice play, and I'm just trying to remember what it was actually, such a long time ago now, but it was a great time. I think it was called On Your Toes, and the chap who was in the male Swan Lake was starring in that, whose name also seems to have left me this afternoon. But it was a wonderful day out, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. This has got Tempo Lap 8 on it. I'm not sure what that means, but it's got Sandy Brown's jazz band and Dave Carvey's jazz band there. plenty of liner notes there, and so I haven't actually played that one yet. Now this one's an interesting one. Now this one I have played. This is the London Emmanuel Choir, conductor Edwin T. Shepherd, festival songs. Now this is a real gem. Now I'm not one to like gospel music that much, but I have to say I did enjoy listening to this today, and I was watching all your YouTube channels up there, and the lady herself, who is Muriel Shepherd. Now she's quite famous. Her husband, poor thing, Edwin, he actually died while doing a concert. And inside, if I can just grab the notes, because I went on to a website to look her up. I always love doing the research. And there is a wonderful picture of Muriel. And she was born in 1908, and she lived right up until, I think, there we are, her death in the 5th of February 2007. And she was something like, I think she was 93 or something, if I was to write this correctly. She really did have a good life. She took over from her husband when he died and carried on the good work there. So she did very well actually, and she's well thought of, and it's a very good record. So I'm going to enjoy listening to that again and again as one of my 10-inch collections. So that's that one. But I mean, there is a website for her, so if you're interested in gospel music and you know the London Emmanuel Choir, they are showcased on YouTube. And that. Now this one's an interesting one. Now Gracie Fields, well, Gracie Fields, I have a mixed feelings about our Gracie, because she is a star. She should be up there with the others, but sometimes her voice just grates a little bit with me, personally. Apart from Shipyard Sally, of course, Wish Me Luck, which was used during the Second World War. But this is somewhat different. This is Gracie singing on a different genre. And here we go. She's singing here, I think, the sweetest prayer in all the world. That's a really nice one. This is showcasing from 1956 right the way up to 1960, I think it goes. This is when this record was produced. And she really does a fantastic job. I'm really, really pleased to have this in my collection. I have got a double album of hers, but I don't listen to it that often. However, I have listened to one or two YouTubers who are just a fan of hers, a bit like I am with Al Bowley, I suppose. And I've had some of those songs are worth listening to. So that's our Gracie. Now this was a real gem. This is Benny Goodman. This is the famous 1938 Carnegie Hall Jazz Concert. And this is showcasing Harry James, Count Basie, Gene Kemper, Lionel Hampton, Coty Williams, Bobby Hackett, Vernon Brown, Johnny Hodges, Walter Page, and many others. And this is on the Philips Micrograve label, and gives a great account on the back. And certainly, I've listened to this afternoon, and it's a great listen. It really is. I might showcase some of that. Swingman 1937 might be interested to hear some of those, because I know Mark's into all that. Now Manvani Magic Touch. This one caught my eye in the Peggy Wood Foundation shop because I mean there are thousands of Manvani records. So we just heard Al Bowley singing along with Manvani, but inside it has this wonderful gatefold and it has these wonderful pictures of him. So I was quite interested in all these wonderful things. I thought the best bit of all, though, folks, was when there's a picture here of them having tea. And it says, Manvani at home in Bournemouth with Mrs. Manvani. She doesn't get a Christian name. She's just called Mrs. Manvani. Mind you, I don't know what his Christian name is, really. I suppose I should find out. But it's a real gem, and it's obviously taken during the 60s. This is with the Decca Recording Company when he visited the factory, being shown around by one of the executives there, and there he is with his motor car. So it's really quite. That's what caught my eye. I haven't played it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a great one to listen to. Lots of nice things on here: Misty, Red Roses from the Blue Lady, and many others. There we go. So it's a double album set. It's okay. This one here is the Antonio of Impression. I've just dropped one of my tapes. Excuse me a second. Unfortunately, they slide on each other a bit. There we go. This one's featuring Dizzy Gillespie, Teddy Wilson, Roy Eldridge, Coleman Hawkins, Johnny Hodges, Art Tatum, of course he plays piano, Charlie Parker, Lester Young, Buddy Lee Franco and Bud Powell. Now, I haven't played this, but it's an interesting album, a splash of yellow and black on there. You can't miss that, can you? So, anyway, it's got lots of nice tracks on here I've never heard of, like Jamaica's Day, Bloomy Dumbo, Blues for the Oldest Profession, Trumpet Blues and so on. I'm looking forward to that one, so that should be fine. Just make sure I can get these all on here. This is traditional jazz. The National Jazz Federation presents traditional jazz. This is Ken Collier's Jazzman, Alex Walsh and his Dixielanders. George Malley's on vocal on this, and I like George Malley. I thought he was an actual hoot. Poor guy. I saw that wonderful BBC programme about him once. Alex and the Dixielanders. Chris Barber's Jazz Band, which I've got one record there with Kenny Ball, and Lonnie Donegan, Skiffle Group, and Chris Barber's Jazz Band. So that looks rather fun as well. That was actually taken, I think, that was the Royal Festival Hall as well. So obviously somebody's collection had all these in. So again, the Royal Festival Hall getting a bit of a knock there, getting a mention, not a knock. Now, Ivor Novello, I've already got this album, but I couldn't resist this. This was in the YMCA shop. This is a wonderful album. His greatest hits were Vanessa Lee and Julie Bryan, and all the others here. So if you're a fan of Ivor Novello, this is a must. These certainly turn up on eBay quite regularly, so you must get hold of these. And there we are. There's Ivor there, still in the middle of reading his life story. But it's a real gem. So I'd probably have this one out in the workshop here as well. So Time to Dance, Ambrose and Orchestra. I think I've already shown you that one, and I think Sylvia and Capolia. I think that's already been showcased as well. So two that I've slipped under the radar. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because we're just up to 12 minutes now, I'm going to cease this video and then talk about the garage, because as you can see it's starting to come along. Anyway, speak to you all very soon, and take care.